Da Vinci 999 coming at you from Byron Bay, Australia. And been a crazy couple of weeks, eclipses, full moons. Now we're on Good Friday, where JC was crucified. Now, that is a story that people take literally, and maybe that is the literal story. However, none of us were really there. What we can take from it is that the internal journey is a journey of crucifixion and resurrection. That's how it goes. So this video I'm going to talk about narcissism and how to win, because as far as they're concerned, there's only win and lose. So if you're in that situation, and much blessings and support to you, if you are, then there's a way out, and there's a way to flip that script and be ready to duck when you pull this off. So me personally, I've just finished 20-year cycle with the narcissist as an empath, and made 3 beautiful children, and the essence of our souls is very amazing, and there's lots of love, but at the end of the day, the energetic exchanges are very toxic between me and the mum of my kids, and so we've had to remove that from my life just to keep me healthy, and be the best dad I can for my kids, with taking no responsibility for her dramas and things like that. Now, there's a lot of things around it, and I don't want to talk too long about the negative situation, but a lot of it is. However, everyone, if we come from compassion to start with, then we might get through this. And the compassionate thing is, we all have childhood wounding, we all have woundings, and if you're in this situation, you've both got woundings, and they will directly align and oscillate together to bring this situation to a head, to be able to fix it, heal it, get through it, transcend it, conquer it, whatever the soul contract is that you have to break it. But while you're in it, it's fucking hell, and that person is making your life hell on purpose. Now, I say on purpose, but it's obviously sometimes subconscious and unknown, but eventually it will be unveiled to be healed, and what you will see is that this person's every intent is actually to take your energy, siphon your energy, and make sure that you are below them so that they can feel superior in their little world. And I mean little when I say little, because these minds are tiny. And like I say, full of childhood trauma. So as much as I can be an empathic healer, and I do a lot of work with a lot of different people, a lot of different traumas really trauma healing, this one has been my biggest challenges. And I think now that I'm coming out of that, and the reason I'm doing this on Good Friday is because we're crucifying our old selves, and we're letting go of how we used to interact and people please. It becomes the winds of change. So that I don't keep manifesting that shit, because it's fucked. And it was psycho hell on some levels. And for me, all I want to do is I want everyone to be happy, and there's a way everyone can be. But in the midst of those trauma storms, people are not looking for those solutions. They're not trying to be happy. They're trying to feed energy into themselves, because they've lost their divine connection, where all of our abundant energy comes from. So in that saying, that childhood trauma puts a cap on top of that being, so therefore they can only pull energy in from outside them, and they feel like there's not enough, so they're having to pull in from every situation, create drama, and pull all the energy in. When they heal that, once that's healed, if that is possible for them to be strong enough as a soul to choose to heal that, and I'm sure they are, then that bottle top is gone, and that reconnection to the divine soul, spirit, light can then become to feed them energy. But there's a lot of self-healing, and there's a lot of self-love, and this is the bit. People don't want to stop and love themselves. They want to run around and tell everyone else how everyone's not loving them, or whatever their drama is. So today is going to go on a bit, and it's going to be really personal, and I haven't talked about this shit to anyone, and So I'm making this video. I don't even know if I'm going to post it, but I feel like I got through all this shit that I really didn't think I was going to get through. And in that, there's some information. And like I talk about hydrogen and wellness and extreme wellness. And the only reason I got through this because the hydrogen kept me coming back to my center and keeping me clear while I could navigate the storms. And then as it healed me, it undid those traumas and released them from my body. And then those energetic exchanges reduced, you know. And I feel like in this last 2 weeks alone, since we had this massive cyclone and change and heat and eclipses and full moons and blah blah blah, down to Good Friday, I think by Sunday I might be alright. I'll be resurrected, but we'll see. What I'd like to bring forth though is the understanding that stuff is really painful, and it's easy to get trapped in that I'm the victim of that. And the really highest truth we have is that we could create this situation so we can heal parts of humanity, and in doing that, the greater collective can heal from this so our children don't have to recreate the situations. And I think that's the generational healing that's coming up. And as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, a lot of this stuff is coming up, you know? So this is my little bit that's come up in the last couple of months. And really, and I'm not saying this, like, you know, we broke up 8 years ago or something like that. I had my health crisis, I had a mum dying in hospital, the hospitals slicing her to pieces and basically ending her life, taking no responsibility, and at the same time having hydrogen, which regenerated my whole thing, which is, this videos there to hear the story. But the tool that I got given in hydrogen allowed me to connect to my soul and my spirit and keep that clear whilst I cleaned up my life from all this trauma manifestation, where I was recreating these situations of betrayal, of abandonment, of whatever just happened in my childhood that I didn't kind of realize was still there underneath everything, you know. And it took a lot of losing and sacrificing everything to figure out the shit on the inside, you know, because sometimes it takes everything away, spirit, so that we can actually just have that left to deal with. And once we can click that, then everything else can move forward again. And hopefully, I feel like that's the situation of just coming in and through, and not realizing that this engagement between the narcissistic past and my empathic, people-pleasing past was still in my energetic field that is being undone and released. The stresses and even in the nervous system is getting undone. So whilst the hydrogen fixes the body and the neurology and gives it energy and does all this stuff, there's this spiritual process with emotions and with sickness to health in that process. That is, when I say hydrogen does all this stuff, it does, but it doesn't do the spiritual stuff. You have to do the spiritual stuff, but to pull that off, then you need clarity, and that's what the hydrogen gives me. It gives me that clarity every day, it gives me the energy every day, and then I can process the emotions. I mean, yesterday I spent half the day crying, just crying, random shit. There was no rhyme or reason. I mean, obviously this video is showing me that there was a reason, but in those moments there was just waves of stuff coming out of my body. And whilst that is it ends up in a blissful state, the chaos of that experience is you know, intense depending on the different emotion that's being released from the body. I've been doing quite a bit extra hydrogen, and that's doing a lot more release from my cells and releasing this cycle from my being, so that because we manifest our reality from inside ourselves to outside, not the other way around. So therefore, when you flip that script and you start thinking, oh, how I feel is what manifests. So I've got to feel abundant, or I've got to feel healthy and vitality. I've got to imagine feeling vital when you sit. Imagine feeling abundant when you grow. These things are the feelings that go out and manifest. So if I'm feeling, I'm trying to want to create abundance, or I want to create super vitality, or want to create whatever, underneath it is this other stuff that I haven't got to yet. And that's holding my body in a feeling that's not the same as the feeling up here that I'm feeling that I'm rising to. So the more I can raise my energy up, the more these lower frequencies that are dense and old and irrelevant now have served their purpose and delivered their lessons. And then those vibrations can be let go of and the whole being can rise. And there's the next state of health. And this is a stage by stage vibrational adjustment, re-resonance, so that when we raise the body up high enough, we have more of the soul can sit inside the body. And when you do that, then you have ascended into the present moment. And from there, you can create whatever you want in the world that you don't think is good enough, shouldn't be there, is shit, whatever. Through life experience, you understand, hey, the future doesn't have to hold these creations. We can recreate things, new health systems, new education systems. All that stuff is transforming right now on the planet, right now, while we're here. So how do we stay clear through all the chaos? Breathing is one way. It's the only way. Life is breath, breath is life. I breathe with hydrogen and it amplifies what breathing does, but it's still the breathing that does it. It's not the hydrogen, it's just amplifying what the breathing does. Coming back to the narcissist thing and how that traumas in my body got layered over many, many years. I mean, the first time we broke up 7 years ago, I was 130 kilos in hospital. I didn't even understand that that's what's been happening for 10 years. Negative impacts. So what happens with a narcissist relationship with an empath is you might get onto a happy moment, and then they will come and pick and criticize and pick away and pick away and pick away and negative. You know, there was one situation where I just cleaned up the whole house, so when she got home it was all clean, and she walked in and there was one thing on the floor, and that was the one thing. There was one thing, and the one thing is the one thing she focused on, the negative thing. So then they look for the negatively geared energy in a situation and focus on that negative, and then turn it into the fact that that negative somehow is your fault. And this cycle of psychic abuse, right, is what wears people down, is what dims your light, is what puts you into a situation where emotionally you've got PTSD, because when they come into the room, you don't know if they're going to lose their shit, laugh, cry, or fucking somehow abuse you for something that you didn't even do. Or even if you did it, the reaction is going to be tenfold what it should be with normal people, right? Remember, normal people, and I'm not saying to be normal, because fucking that's boring as shit, but normal as in when a person's self-regulating, self-responsible, when they understand their own emotions, when they have some kind of self-awareness, then that's the normal, right? And when they don't take responsibility and they turn around and take energy and blame and criticize and push people down so they can feel up, then that's not fucking normal, dudes. And if that's happening to you, get the fuck out. I don't mean to. It's hard. I had 3 kids, and my kids are amazing, and we've been through crazy shit. After we broke up, she had another boyfriend, 5 years. I was drinking every night. Got to the point where it was domestic violence. My kids are in the house. I ended up living with them to protect my kids spiritually from this crazy shit that she was manifesting and thinking that was alright. You know, so, and I did it all humbly, and I did it with love, and I did it for the greater good of the family, but it all blew up, and it caused traumas, and it created shit in my kids that I've had to spend the next couple of years nurturing them out of and making sure they're okay. And sure, they're strong and super souls, but without the nurturing and loving and understanding that I give them after that, they don't get that. Becomes a trauma that doesn't become healed. So there's a lot of healing and a lot of amazing experiences that we all came out of, and we're all stronger and we're all better. But that took 2 years of healing and 2 years of daily energy and 2 years of not working and being fucking broke, but making sure my kids were heart and spirit safe, body loved, loved, acknowledged, seen, felt, heard. Yes, that was shit. Yes, that's how you feel, because that's the truth. You're allowed to feel like that because of this situation. Okay. Trigger warning. I think I just had one. So I'm making this video to get it out. I don't know if I'll put it out, but I'm definitely going to get it out. And in these situations, they're all situated, they're all created to put that person, the narcissist, on top of everyone else and putting them into chaos. Because remember, they're on top is actually a shit level down, full of chaos and drama and pain and trauma. That's where they live. So now they have to take everyone that's actually happy and make them miserable and sit them underneath themselves. And when they do that, they take the energy from everyone and lifts them up, and they don't have to go inside and deal with their trauma and fucking heal themselves, right? Because it's a sign of piss weak people who prey on other people. So all the love and compassion in the world, but fuck mate, the truth is the truth. People who are traumatized and don't take responsibility, you have to cut out of your life. There's too many good people on the planet. There's too many good experiences to have without them in it fucking shit up for other people. And in doing that, someone like me who just loves my kids and sacrifice everything for them to have their mum coming in and controlling the family and taking all the family tax money and controlling every little step that we all take, to the point where I'm living in fucking cars and I've got no empowerment because I didn't understand a lot of this shit. All I did was take on and try and harmonize this emotion and keep feeding this energy into this fucking deranged person who would not take responsibility and heal themselves. And maybe they were not fucking ready. But putting everyone else through your trauma is not fucking cool, especially if you're a parent, because you're dragging your children through your own shit. So grow the fuck up. Put your big boy pants on, big girl pants on. Be an adult, right? Make your children sovereign and protect them with everything. Okay? It's really important. And if you're in this situation, you need to get out. And it's not about blaming. It's not going, oh, that's their fault. Fuck that. That's their game. You've got to rise above that shit and go, this person's in so much pain, they're hurting all of us. So now we have to manage that situation. And once you start to do that, you disempower that situation and you take away the center of power which they're holding and demanding and controlling by manipulating everyone into that situation. I hope this helps someone, because fuck me, it was intense to go through. And it's still not, now I'm having to manage that in every level, every time we interact, right? Because someone can't just be happy and be happy for everyone else around them, and life will sort that situation out for them to have that time to heal. But on the way through, all the people that you're damaging, and including your own children, is not fucking cool at all. Because children love us unconditionally. It's the people in our lives that we make actually love us unconditionally. And if you're hurting them by treating them like a little energy battery because you can't fucking breathe and do your own shit, then that's not cool. That's fucking abuse, and it's emotional, spiritual abuse. And yes, we've got all this domestic violence stuff coming out, and that's fantastic. Trust me, that's fantastic, right? But what you don't see is the emotional abuse and the fucking psychological abuse and the spiritual abuse that happens. And this can happen very much from women to men before men react and end up domestically violent. Or did I say something wrong? I'm sorry if you don't agree with that, but that's the fucking truth. People who are manipulative and in trauma are manipulating, whether you're men or women. Women do it equally to men, but they're the dreamers, and they've got all the emotional, spiritual, actual understanding, and they come from a higher level. So when they start abusing you like that and negatively telling you you're not worthy and you're this and everything you're doing is wrong, just to control the way you feel about you, that's fucking evil black magic shit, mate. And may karma come back on all of those people doing that to other people, because the time is now not to do that anymore. That's a hangover from the fucking patriarchal shit. And even the women who are doing that, complaining about men, but manipulating men to turn them into that, waiting for reactions. Now, the narcissist is looking to trigger reactions. And this is the thing where men are emotionally unintelligent. We're learning better, we're expressing better, but we're fucking retarded. And so on that level, it's very easy for a manipulator who understands how to manipulate people's emotions and trigger them into a state where they're reacting. They're not able to detach, respond, and manage, because as soon as you do that, the narcissist has no game, has no energy, has no anything, and is literally going to lose their shit and start throwing a tantrum like a child that they actually are inside, right? And throwing a fucking tantrum doesn't get no one nothing, doesn't get you the ice cream, and it definitely doesn't heal anything, right? It just exposes the narcissist as inner child wounded, and everything is about them. Everything. And if you sit back in your life, look at this now, if you're in that situation, you sit back and look at it. Anything they want you to do is based on supporting them. Anything they ask of you is about supporting them, and anything they even give you is so to get energy to support them in some way. And it's done with a smiling face, with I love you, with all that shit. But underneath it is this intention to take your energy and fill themselves up with it until they run out, and then they'll get more power. The more you start to detach, the more reaction they're going to have, instead of being able to create reactions in you. So be the trigger, not the triggered. This is the game, and if you're in it, you gotta go, fuck, I'm in this shit and I gotta get out, right? And it's not easy, and it's really fucking confusing. And as an empath, as a good person, they can only attack good people, because good people, even me, are going, well, there's got to be some kind of glimmer of hope that she's going to return to her former self where she was an amazing artist and dancer. But she's sold some part of her off to this I don't believe in myself crew, and they own that part of it. So she doesn't believe in herself. So as soon as I'm believing in myself, what is it? Then there's a drama. There's all this drama at me to make sure that I can't stay focused on what I'm doing because it's working, you know. And I only understood this fucking 20, dude, I'm talking 20 years, looking back and going, oh my God, look at every time I went out to do a gig doing music, and she would have an argument right as I was walking out the door, create something out of nothing, right? And she'd do gigs, and I'd spend 3 months supporting her and all her crew every day and looking after the kids so she could do that. So this whole thing is like, hey, it's all about me being the star, when in reality, these people, they have no magical essence. They do have it, but it's so locked up around the trauma that they've forgotten it, and therefore they want to go, hey, you've got that star thing, and instead of looking inside and saying, hey, I've got the star thing too, let it out and let me deal with this pain, and underneath that is a fucking star, they want to take your star to make sure you don't shine so they can look like they're shining. And on other spiritual levels, there's psychic, energetic siphoning and all sorts of stuff. Like, we are energy, and our energy is our currency. It's a current of electricity that runs through us from our spirit all the way through to our cells, right? So when I'm talking about the hydrogen, it's all about getting our cells vibrating and hydrated and high as energy as we can, so that we can have our spirit come into our body and be fucking here, so we can solve these problems from a higher level that are in our life and create whatever future that we want to see, especially as a parent for our children, like moving forward, not trying to say, oh, all my pain from here, I just want to see here, and I'm going to pain everyone else with it, because that's what happened to me. There's some fucking ownership of the pain that we all create our own pain. And in doing that, what we're doing is owning the responsibility, the ability to respond to anything in life. How are you guys? Made it. Coming from the beach through the bush. They're probably from South America somewhere. So I don't know if that's like the Amazon, but they definitely looked like they knew what they were doing getting through it. So taking responsibility gives us the ability to respond. It's real simple. You know, and this is the other thing I was saying about, you know, all the pain that I can talk, and sometimes it's triggered talk, so it'll sound like I'm blaming. I'm not blaming at all. I created all these situations to learn from, you know. but from being in partnership, being in intimate, is to into me I see. So therefore, this part of me is the outside pushed out, right? So if I'm saying, oh, I'm not that, no, I've gone through and said, yeah, I've got all these narcissistic childhood traumas, and I've gone through, but at the same time, my intention is never to harm anyone. Like, all I want to do is see the fucking world happy, so I can go to the beach and relax. But until it's happy, there's a lot of work to do for a lot of people that are working light and working healing and working on new vibrations and working to bring ancient wisdom and knowledge back, because we go in and remember it and then bring it forth. And usually that's some kind of humanic crisis, like what I had, putting me in hospital. My midlife crisis was a skateboard and a hydrogen machine, as opposed to a BMW sports car or something like that, Ferrari, whatever, Harley Davidson. But then I learned the currency is health, wealth, energy. All comes from energy. It's all energy. There's no fucking, just because I don't have any money at different points doesn't mean I'm not wealthy, because I'm healthier than the richest people on the planet that I see being so sick every day, because really half of them didn't live that integral soulful life. They ran from their own traumas and stuff as their own childhood, and they created abundance like the baby boomers, but they were born into depression, so they wanted to make lots of money, but then they didn't turn around and help the Gen X after them, because they were too busy being traumatized teenagers who had all the toys and didn't want to fucking share in the sandbox, right? And we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and that was the age of Pisces. So there's a lot of changes coming with collective reality. Like, if we have a bunch of resources between 10 people, we have more energy and time and focus to create something bigger and better for everyone to benefit from. That's the concept of how we're moving into the next world. But this concept of saying, oh, I've got all the stuff and you people don't have it, because you don't have it, I'm not going to share it, because then I feel bigger. Right? But inside is this little tiny child who feels so fucking tiny still, because they haven't gone out and empowered themselves from the inside out. They're empowering themselves from the outside in, and by the time they get all the wealth and they get all the stuff and they get all the comfort, they're so fucking sick that they have to spend all that money to get back to health. That's a fucking dumb game, everyone. So you can see through those worlds of abundant money thing, you can see there's all these childhood traumas that are running those realities, and a lot of that is narcissism in its way, that a childhood trauma locks someone in. Look, the way our energetic field works is we are a column of light in the middle, so to speak, and that's like our spirit light, right? Then all these body molecules, this is all molecules, physical body, they're like a cyclone wrapping around the light, okay? When you have a thought, that's one of these molecules from any part of your body jumping across across the light column, and then that's the thought. And if you hold on to that thought, you start to spin around the cyclone. You can go anywhere depending on where that thought came from and which vibration in the body, which diseased or traumatized or not traumatized, whatever. The point is, you can let go of the thought and suddenly you come back to your center, right? In this way, we see that when you're traumatized, it wraps this thing around you, like venom, that venom thing where the dude comes out of, like Spider-Man and takes over. That's like a trauma taking over your life. So when that happens, your thoughts can't oscillate up to these things or be detached or anything, because you're trapped inside this level of existence. And if you keep growing into an adult without healing that, then you're just going to keep going around this loop. Even if you get bigger, you're still going around the same loop. Okay? So the whole idea is to undo the trauma and release the light. And the trauma is chaos, and in chaos is wisdom, and in wisdom is some message for humanity about how to get out of this chaos, this type of crisis, right? I got a book, it's called Crisis to Clarity. It talks a lot about hydrogen, but really it's about getting clear so our spiritual self can then evolve our own fucking minds and our lives and create more love and joy in our life, because we get to the point with self-love that we are worthy of great things. We are worthy. We are worthy. We are worthy. And I think that's the mantra for everyone this year, is like, clear out the decks where we weren't worthy, where we had people telling us we weren't worthy, like the narcissistic person telling us, you're not worthy of great things, because they don't feel worthy inside themselves, so they're projecting that on. So we're all, I mean, you know, I spent 10 years being a sinner, and it made me super sick. And within 6 months, with hydrogen and these wellness and, you know, eating properly and blah blah blah, and new understandings, but also being away from that influence, I lost 30 kilos in 6 months, and I got healthy, and I started skateboarding at 47, and I had all this energy and I had all this freedom because I wasn't near that person telling me how fucked everything is, how fucked I was, right? And the only thing I've been having to do is manage that so that my kids are less impacted by that state of mind until she has this situations where maybe she can heal this stuff. Hopefully that happens for my children's sake, right? But this sake is, first of all, saving your own life from this situation, because this will kill you if you're in hospital, and you won't understand why, right? You'll be like, why am I so sick? I was so happy and healthy, and now he's fucked. It's because the narcissist sucked his life out of you, sucked it, using negative reinforcement and chipping away at everything about you that feels good about you, that is good about you, that you love, you dream, all that shit, until you're working like a rat in a fucking cage to create a little wheel of energy that she, or him, in that case, whatever case it is for you, siphons your energy. And by the time you finish each day running that wheel, you're exhausted. There ain't no time for love, energy. They're not going to give you any love. They're not going to come and replace that energy. It's not going to be reciprocal, which is normal apparently. I don't know. I'm trying to, maybe I'll find that one day in my life. But I'm learning how to do that with myself. It's like I give out energy, but I go and receive energy back, and I make sure now my relationships are reciprocal, because I was giving out everything to everyone, you know, because that's how I was trained as a parent or as a child by my mother, who was another narcissist, and therefore created that wounding, and therefore I created a partner that matched that wounding, so that the mother energy in my life would be a narcissist, so that I would have to understand this is how fucked up I've been for years. And after you heal anything, it's fun. That's why comedy is the most healing, because you get to laugh at the world, and the world is pretty fucked up, and it can be painful, and it can be, but really the healing is laughing and going, oh, laugh can't hold me down. It can teach me these things, and it can beat me a few times. I got black eyes and scars, battle scars like everyone, you know. But we keep rising back up and saying, all right, let's go again, see what else we can learn. As long as we keep learning from those lessons and not having to repeat those lessons, and I think that's what I'm trying to say. Eventually, you'll break the cycle and not have to repeat this lesson, because inside you'll see yourself going, oh, as an empath, I have a trauma where I have to people please. That people-pleasing part of yourself then meets a narcissist who goes, haha, finally someone who wants to please me. Everything you do is for me. I will take everything from you until you're fucking dead. And then tell you that was your fault. And it kind of is, because you never stood up and went, fuck, I'm not playing this game. Because everyone has a choice. You don't have to play their game. And in fact, when you stop playing their game, the game fucking ceases to exist. So that's the first secret. Alright? Not reacting, not allowing them to come in and poke and prod and pull energy. And this is the one, like, you have to protect your will chakra, your yellow chakra. This is your personal will. This is what they're attacking when they're doing it. All those negative things are taking energy and putting in energy so that they can do that anytime they want. Hi, I'm feeling really good today. Okay. Oh, I feel shit. One sentence. That's how fucked up and manipulative it is. That's how clever they are, right? Everything in their reality is they're manipulating, or constantly, you know. And it's to the point where subconscious, they're just doing it. They're in the habit of doing that shit, so they can't even really stop themselves. So you have to take responsibility and stop it. So, shit. Something else. I've never done a video like this before. But it's really intense, you know, like living that life and the big, you know, and I can people can fucking punch me in the face, I'm not going to punch him back. I'm going to say, fuck, that person's in pain, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Obviously not now, I'm going to be able to duck quicker. I've got a lot more hydrogen than I used to have. But the point being, when I see that my choices to stay there in that fucked up situation has impact and fallout on my children, you know, and I'm disempowered at that point to see anything else, going, fuck, I don't even know how to get out of this situation. You know, I was in that situation for a while. There was a flood, locked us all in for a year, couldn't get out, money, all that stuff, dude. And this was like, oh, and then I understood later when when we did get out, I was like, oh my god, this had to come to a head. The domestic violence, and he got put in fucking charges, and you know, he should have gone to fucking jail. But he manipulated everyone, his lies to the courts, to everyone. Like, he was worse than she was. They're as bad as each other. They fucking deserved each other, to be honest. They created each other through their traumas. But you know, my job was to protect the kids from that. And I'll tell you, after 2 years after that, and holding space with the whole kids and all the support I gave her to get through that, to win that battle for her, she still ended up fucking unappreciating, kicking me out, trying to make my life harder as I was getting some, you know what I mean? And that wasn't anything about her. That's about showing me, oh fuck, that's how fucked up this shit was. There was not one moment where any part of her was going to come to go, how can I help you? That's the difference. If you don't have people coming back and going, fuck, you helped me, how can I help you? Then that relationship is shit. Or, you know, not shit, but you know what I mean? Like, don't continue having that relationship because it's one-sided. You can help people and you don't expect anything back. I do that shit all the time, and I don't live with those people. You know what I mean? Like, there's someone in the street or comes into my world and I'm like, fuck, you need help, I'll help you. No worries. We're all on the planet for that. But if you're going to have a relationship inside your life and it's constantly feeding one person from another person, and that's not coming back to the other person, that is not a relationship that is sustainable or healthy or even honest, to be honest. You know? So if we're being honest, and we can be caught in our own delusions of what love is and what kind of love we need. And you know, for me, being a martyr and being a people pleaser means I was like, okay, well, no one loves me, but I still love everyone. That's not fair. I fucking love really well. I'm a great lover. In fact, I'm so psychic and ahead of what they need. I'm already bringing it before they need it. And then I had to learn to stop that shit. Like, don't do it like that. Let them find their problem and let them find their own solution on some level, you know. So I'm living and learning, and I'm trying to get better at being me, but I really, really, really have struggled with the energy inside me through this kind of relationship. So I think this video is just helping me do it. Man, you should see the waves. The waves are going off down there. I don't know what's going on. There's no cyclone this week, but there's some big swells, big winds, and there's a lot of surfers coming out of the bush, which is fun. So happy Good Friday, everyone, on this 2025 year of transforming and starting to thrive for all of us, you know. I really enjoyed this video. I thought I would cry, you know. I thought I'd have a lot more emotional shit come up, but I guess I'm detached enough at this point in time. But I've had a cry already this morning, so maybe I just got it out early. Who knows? But many blessings, and thank you for being with me on this little exploration into the narcissist and childhood traumings and how to have compassion and how to get through it, and why it's important to actually not allow these relationships to exist in your life, because they're nothing about you loving you. In fact, only when you're not loving you properly is when these relationships turn up to show us. To show us where we need to maybe love ourselves more, you know. So I wish everyone the best, and I'm always here to help any way I can, you know, if I can. And there's a book on hydrogen and stuff. Have a look. Don't have a look. Doesn't really matter. I do it every day. It works for me. It keeps me clear. Helps me process all this other spiritual, emotional stuff, and you know, if you're a healer or you're in any way an empath, then there's a part of your life that's going to, you know, manifest things like this, and we all have to help each other understand how to get through them and how to get out of them and how to become our most empowered person. And that is someone who has the ultimate compassion, takes no shit. So be awesome, take no shit, be a wolf, not a sheep, love everyone. Blessings to all, peace on earth.